Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 PS4 review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Knack, the game everyone loves to hate, really. And it's a shame, because honestly, I think a lot of the criticism is very unfair, and it's just one of those things. I think its biggest problem is, by trying to do a story which then is awful, it gets put up on a certain pedestal with other games and then people slate it for that. Whereas personally, I think it's equally as good as certain Mario games. That basically it does nothing new, nothing different, nothing that we haven't seen before. It does nothing groundbreaking, but it doesn't have any problems, glitches, bugs, anything that I can see that makes it an awful game. It's just people's opinions of what they're thinking is an awful game. And as far as I'm concerned, this is just like when Nintendo phones in a Mario game. For example, New Super Mario Bros. 2. Everyone out there says that it's just a bog standard, more of the same Mario game. It's just Mario with new levels, new locations. The coin gimmick is and that's the only thing that tries to do new. And as a Mario game, it's therefore decent, but it's not amazing because it didn't break new ground. It didn't do anything like wonderful. It didn't change anything. It was just more of the same. And honestly, I think that of Knack is just your standard platformer. It doesn't do anything wrong, but it doesn't do anything right either, if you know what I mean. It doesn't do anything that makes you go, oh yeah, this is just like when Crash Bandicoot was so amazing because, or when Jak and Daxter was amazing because. Instead, it's just a decent platformer with no real amazing flaws that make it unplayable, and therefore it's getting absolutely slated for not being something that it's almost like people expected it to be more, so they're slating it because it's not, which isn't the game's fault. At the end of the day, from day one, I've known exactly what I was going into with Knack, and because of that, I've been able to find a lot of fun and enjoyment with it, especially with remote play, which this is probably the best title I've played on remote play, it really is. And then obviously there's a second screen where you can play co-op with only on the Vita, and that it's fantastic that it's the only title that's done it so far out of all of them that I've bought. Everything else you can still play using the Vita as a controller, but you can't have your own personal screen or anything, you know, and you can't have second screen, which I will try to show off even if it's simply holding the Vita up. So, let's begin, I suppose. At the start, you've got new game and options, and that's pretty much it. Then you've got continue and load game once you've played. I'm going to be early on in, just in case you do like the story and you don't want anything spoiled. So I'm on chapter 2, 3. Overall, there's 13 chapters, each with different segments and that, and it's a lengthy game from one point of view from that, but people are saying it can be beaten really quickly if you play through it, and I honestly reckon a lot of people have played it on easy. I say that because the game is actually quite hard on normal and quite brutal on hard, and it's the sort of thing that it makes me think, well, the only way people are getting through it that fast, either they are God's gift to gamers or they're playing it on easy, because that's another thing and another reason why I think people are slating it, because it's actually got this thing called difficulty, and we don't really see that these days, especially with platformers. Not looking at anyone but you, Mario, no offense, I like your new adventure, but there are some times when it's a little easy. And it's just one of those things. You've got a very stringent and strict gameplay with it. You have to collect parts, relics, to become bigger and better, and as you do that, you get more health and you get more power. But as soon as you get hit, you lose a lot of relics, and then you get hit again, you lose a lot of relics, and you get hit again, you're dead. As far as I'm aware, you're never more than 3 hits away from death, and certain enemies, they can absolutely pile drive you. When you're small Knack, there's an enemy with a huge club, and it's instant one hit kill. No matter what I was doing, that killed me in one. Whereas there's other enemies where it's just like 2 hits got me, and it's just one of those things that because of that, it adds a lot of difficulty to it, and you are constantly going back to the checkpoint over and over again. It doesn't have a life system, because quite frankly I think many people would burn through all their lives in the first level, because that's when it seems to be at its hardest, actually, because it's very stringent in early on with giving you stuff, and that tends to be the way that it actually goes with the whole game. You'll start off a small little level, and then you'll build up, and then for some inexplicable reason you'll become small again, and it's just one of those things that it can become a very strong case of trial and error. I mean, like that there, it's telling me to do a dash attack, which this is the first time on the game you actually have to do the dash attack, so until you learn it and master it and get to it, then you die, you go back and you start all over again, and you will die an awful lot while you're learning things, and that's what I mean. I think that's why a lot of people end up slating it, because it's actually hard. It's not the family-friendly title that it was made out to be, especially when you consider the story as well. Don't get me wrong, if you've got kids, they should be fine playing it, but maybe play it with them and maybe put it on easy. Because the whole point of the story is essentially genocide. That's the only real way to put it. It's about the goblins are bad, the humans are good, and there's never any explanation as to why the goblins are bad, and the goblins keep saying, well, we're not bad, you're bad, and it is essentially, you're playing a genocidal game, and that's the only way to put around it. So it's not exactly the sort of thing that is kind of for kids, really, unless we're expected to teach 5-year-olds now the implications of World War II and what that was all about, and quite frankly, it's the sort of thing that I think I learned about World War II when I was about 11 in school, at like 10 or 11, and that was probably about right. I was able to get the implications of it, and really it's something that, if you think about it, shouldn't be learned until you're later on in life, because it's horrific, really, quite frankly. And that's a simplified version of it. That's from someone's point of view of not living through it, because I'm sure that there's not even any way to describe it, really, if you lived through it. And that's, as I say, that is essentially this game. It's about just wiping out the orcs, really. You have to go through, you're told the orcs are bad, so you go kill them, and that's really it. And a lot of people are therefore slating the story as well, because they're saying, well, they don't like it, and they don't like the voice acting, and they don't like the way it goes, and it's just one of those things. But I think it's its own worst enemy by doing that. They'd have been better off just making it, the princess has been kidnapped, you must go save them, Knack. And they'd have probably been alright, they really would have, but because it tries to be more and tries to make more of itself, people are then holding it to a higher pedestal and saying, well, I don't like it because of this, I don't like it because of that, and I don't like it, and also it might be a bit hard, and it's just, I think it has been under a lot of unfair criticism. Graphically, the game is fantastic. I was very impressed with it. All the particle effects, and when you get the relics and the fly into you. Gameplay, I think the combat works well. It is simplified, but I just treat it as a side-scrolling beat 'em up, if I'm honest. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a platformer that players like Streets of Rage. That's the way I justify it in my own head, and maybe I'm being too kind on it, whereas others have been too harsh, but I can't say that I dislike a game when I like it, much the same that I can't say I like a game when I dislike it. I'm just not wired that way. It's not the sort of thing. The closest I've came is with New Super Mario Bros. Wii, where I said I loved it when I first got it, and then I went through a period of actually saying, but actually, to be fair, there's this that I dislike about it and this that I dislike about it. But then, in anticipation of New Super Mario Bros. Wii U, I played through it again and actually really enjoyed it. So for a time there, I did have a video up saying I enjoyed a game that I hate, but then by replaying it again, I enjoyed it again. So all's good in the end. Musically and voice acting wise, I think it's alright. The voice actors, some of them are really good, some of them are really cheesy, and they're almost stereotypical. It's the type of thing that, if I'm honest, I started to skip through the story because I just wanted to play the game and I wanted to solve the puzzles and find the secrets and kick the crap out of the enemies. I wasn't really caring about the story at all. So it's one of them. It's generic and average on that point of view, but I think there'll be a lot of people out there that when this becomes free on Plus, because the way it's going, this probably will be the first game that's free on Plus at the end of the day, because so many people have slated on it. So it's the sort of thing that I think a lot of people will actually go, well, you know what, that was actually decent. I'm not so much disappointed that I didn't buy it because I've got it free now, but I'm a little disappointed in myself for automatically thinking it would be crap. The only thing I haven't mentioned, and it's probably why I'm failing on this section so much, because I'm too busy talking about it that I'm not thinking and playing the game properly, is that you've got powers. Basically the crystals in the top left corner, you smash the yellow crystals, the bars fill up and then you can do them. There's 3 different types. There's you push circle and triangle and you do a ranged attack and it pretty much kills things far away, and that's what I have to do on the section where I've been dying all the time, but when I finally did it I messed it up and I fired it into a wall, so that was kind of a bit of an idiot move. You've then also got one where it's essentially you turn into Crash Bandicoot. You fire out all of the relics and that, and they spin around you in a mad Tasmanian Devil and Crash Bandicoot style spin, and they just destroy everything that like touches them. You have to like keep walking into enemies and that. And then there's another one which is the one that I don't use very much. It's basically like a Hulk smash. you slam down and it creates a wave, and it's alright, but I think it's probably the worst of the three, at least in my experience. There's also then different sections of different levels where you get you can get flaming logs, and that allows you to set things on fire, and that's another thing that people have then complained about, saying, well, you only really get those abilities when you need them. Well, be honest, how many times do you see that on games? I mean, even on Mario, if you want to use an item on a level on Mario and it doesn't want to give you it, you have to then beat another level and then go in with that item. So yes, you can't do that on this, so maybe that's why people are complaining, but at the end of the day, it's not like it's the only game that gives you an item when you need it. Yes, it would probably be cool to walk around setting things on fire on every single level, but by doing that it would then make the game easier in parts, and one of the things I like about the game is its difficulty. So again, I just think there's a lot of things that are criticised that other games aren't then criticised for. The new Mario game, I like it, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not a 10 out of 10 like everyone's saying it is, because it doesn't really deserve it. It doesn't really do anything that warrants giving it such a high score. But I still like the game, and I'm still going to give it a positive review when I do it myself. I'm not going to say, oh, because it doesn't meet my outlandish expectations, it's an awful game, you know? It's just one of them that this is the one that's annoyed me the most about the PS4 launch. So that's pretty much all I can rant on about for now. If you're looking for a platformer and you like them, definitely give it a go. I don't know if there's a demo, I don't think there is, and it's a shame because it's the sort of thing that probably needs a demo, because then people would play it and realise, oh yeah, actually this is the sort of thing I'll play, or they'll go, oh yeah, it's right, that it isn't something that I would enjoy. So it is a shame that there isn't a demo as of yet, and hopefully they will get a demo at some point. For that very reason, but at the same time, as I say, I can honestly see this being one of the first free PS4 games on Plus, because it's just not favoured well. The only plus side is it is selling well, because it's actually managed to outsell Mario, at least in the UK, so at least there is some justice in the world. Not that it deserves to outsell Mario, but that it deserves some sales, because it's a good game. Anyway, that was the rant and everything over. The only thing I haven't done is obviously shown off what I said I would, which is simply using the PlayStation Vita, which as you can see there, well, at least hopefully, PlayStation Vita, using the second screen that it kept saying. You can connect a second screen and play it, and basically make it so that you can have your 2-player, one on each screen. Now, that's not true unless that's just not active at the moment, and you have to wait for it. And it's annoying, because I've mentioned it in other vids, because this is the first time I've had the chance to do it, saying how, with Lego Marvel, how it's a bit of a shame that you play split screen and not second screen like Knack said that you could. And then it turns out that Knack also can't do it. So, yeah, that is a little annoying, but unfortunately I've had to literally log into my brother's account on the PS4 to use my Vita to try and set this up, because I thought, well, that's got to be the way that you enable second screen, and it turns out, no, you just both play it together. So as you can see, I'm controlling the silver one, no one's holding the PS4 pad at this moment in time, and I run about, and there we go, I'm off screen. Now I can't do anything, I just disappear back and teleport because I've essentially died. So that is quite annoying, the kind of claim that you're going to be able to play a split screen where you're using your Vita as one screen and that as the other, when in actual fact it's just like using your Vita as a controller again, same as on all of the other remote play games. So there, at least I've been able to show it off and mention it in here, and if anyone says, well, you can't do that in Knack on the video that I've mentioned that you can, I'll just say, oh, I know that, I just recorded that after that, so I didn't know it at the time, but yeah, I know that. These things happen though, and it's not exactly life-endangering or anything like that, so it is the way it is. Just a bit of a disappointment, really, that, as I said, hopefully one day we will be able to actually play a split screen where your Vita's one screen and your TV is another screen. But until then, that's the end of this vid, I suppose. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.